most of situations of violence today between Muslims and Christians actually turn out to be motivated by many complex factors, including how to divide up oil, including territorial claims, including tribal hegemony and tribal relations. And people really love God in the wrong way sometimes, by loving to cover up their own egoistic, political, social, economic, tribal, ethnic problems by giving them a godly paint job. So by claiming that it is Muslim versus Christian, Christian versus Muslim, and that is very, very tragic. The abuse of language, of religiosity, whereby it is used to cover up things like that is a tragedy. So I don't believe that the problem in Nigeria is a religious problem per se, but a problem of people who critically paint their ethnic and their economic struggles with religion. That being said, however, theologians and the ulama, the priests and monks and teachers have a responsibility, a grave responsibility to try to instill this love of God and compassion and the love of neighbor into the hearts of their people. And part of the crisis in education today in some parts of the world has to do with the breakdown of mechanisms of spiritual upbringing and the non-replacement of these obliterated mechanisms. Many countries that had old madrasas that taught tasawwuf and taught things like love and compassion lost their madrasas to secular schools who think that it is very rational and secular to keep religion out of the school. So they don't give any spiritual nourishment to the children. Thereby we have these creatures who are highly educated and awfully cruel. As a matter of fact, most of the most cruel people that we have heard about in the news lately are highly educated people, normally engineers. Okay? And that is, I'm trained as an engineer, by the way, before theology. So I mean no disrespect to the engineers, but what I mean is a purely technical education without spiritual upbringing is more problematic than being illiterate or ignorant, because at least the illiterate, because he humbly knows that he's illiterate, doesn't do Arabic things. But the foremost arrogance comes from the literate, the highly literate, when they are illiterate spiritually. And how do you teach spirituality? You can definitely develop theologies, you can preach it, but most importantly, you must practice it. Because example, when it comes to these things, is the best teacher. It's like riding a bicycle. You can write as many manuals about riding bicycles as you can, it will never work. To ride a bicycle, your father has to put you on that bicycle, or your mother, and has to help you out a little bit until you're on your own, and then let you ride the bicycle. This is what Gilbert Ryle calls knowing how, not knowing that. And spirituality has a lot to do with knowing how, which is only taught through proper lineage and transmission of a barakah, or a blessing, that is done generation after generation. What we see in the world today is the rupture of these ancient structures and the non-replacement of these things. So that is why we have a spiritual crisis.